What's up, guys? Welcome to I-90 Sports. What's up?
It's so much better now that we're champs.
We've never had a 4,000-yard passer, and we're the oldest franchise in the NFL.
Once again, I'd like to apologize for the hoarseness of voice. What's up, though? Welcome back to episode 2 of the I-90 Sports Podcast. We got a lot to cover today, JD. We had a lot of action go down, and I can't wait to get into it. And let's just jump right in. We'll kind of go backwards a little bit, and we'll talk about the Bears, Dolphins, and the Pats, Eagles first, and then we will bring in our special guest that we have lined up for the show to help us talk about some of the rookie quarterbacks.
Sounds great, man. I'm excited. We got a lot to talk about today, so it's going to be loaded. Stay with us.
Let's get into it. We got to see game number 2 of the preseason, and get a better look at some of the starters. They played a little longer this game, and hopefully by the next one we'll see probably a full half out of the starters. That would be my guess. They'll probably play them for a half in the last game, but
I hope so.
Let's get right into it. The Bears and Dolphins. We'll start with them first. Justin Fields, the future of your Chicago Bears.
Future of the franchise, the future of the city.
I'll
you want to start?
So I'll give you your initial thoughts on his performance versus the Dolphins.
He was electric. I mean, he was like, you just felt something when he stepped on the field. Like there was like a star power immediately, and everybody, all the players, like you could just see they were all kind of tightened up. Man, it was fun to watch. Honestly, I don't think we've ever had that in Chicago. We've never had a guy. Everyone's like, "Oh, the quarterback's here." Everybody like, let's get ready. So he wasn't perfect. He had a few like throws that I was like, "Whoa, that needs to get cleaned up. That'll get addressed." But he was electric. His athleticism, his agility. That one was a 20-yard play or something like that. It was a 20-yard run where he like was faster than the safety. It was like, whoa, baby,
beat the safety to the edge. Yeah, beat the safety to the edge.
Oh, that was something we've never seen in Chicago. So no, it was electric. That's what I would say. What did you think?
I think you hit it on the head where they finally have a guy where that you have to like okay, the difference between a guy like that and Trubisky, you have to game plan for Justin Fields. You have to game plan for him. He's a difference maker. You know,
he's
a difference maker. He's a playmaker on the field. He did start. I will say this. I did rewatch the game. He started off slow.
Yeah, he did. The first drive was very slow.
You could tell that like there was an adjustment period to the game speed and just the way like I think it's a lot. I think it's kind of that rookie shock, like
yeah.
That it's
the butterflies.
Yeah.
It's you're excited. You're like, holy crap, this is it, like right here. And then he said the game slowed down, and you could see that in the third quarter. But you're right.
Yeah, like as
the first drive was. Yeah.
Oh, you could definitely tell that as it progressed, by the second and third drive, he had slowed down, and it was, sometimes you just get the yips and the jitters, and it's like you got to just push through that. But he looked very good, man. He looked poised. He looked his footwork was pretty good for.
Well, and the most impressive thing to me was I think it was I don't know if it was Monday or Tuesday, but so apparently he played really badly in practice on like Monday or Tuesday, and he told the quarterback's coach Della Filipino, I forgot his name, Coach D, I'll call him. He told the Bears coach, the quarterback's coach, that he wanted to redo everything. So they spent an extra 2.5 hours out there doing every single other, like every drill again, so he could do it over again. And he got like fifth stringers and other people to help him and stuff. So yeah, this kid is absolutely dedicated, man. And I love that. So I'm excited. I'm absolutely excited. People are saying he's a stud. He makes head turns when he walks in the room. Yeah, Justin Fields, man.
They actually have a guy that you have to game plan for now, which is dangerous.
It's exciting. I didn't even know he was like that. Whenever, like, if you look at his college tape, he looks smaller in college. He's that 1 year, man. He's like filled out a little bit.
Yeah,
he's gotten bigger and stronger. He looks big. He looks like a big guy.
Now, so obviously the offense looked pretty good with Fields kind of running, at the helm. What did you think about the other end of the other end of it on the defensive side?
Well, they're not really doing anything yet. Like, they're not really gonna go all out like the Bears do. Like, they're not gonna have Mac, go wild or anything. And they still don't even have a key man. I don't think they have Hicks on the field, or if he is, he just got back on the field.
I didn't see him.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure he wasn't in the preseason. Yeah, no, he wasn't. And so they don't have a lot of their guys like ready to go. Eddie Jackson, obviously, he's been, like, people say he's had a good camp. Last year he was not as good as the year prior, so we're hoping for a bounce back year so he can become one of the best safeties in the league again. But I mean, I didn't see anything. I feel like they're running like a really basic scheme. So, nothing. I feel like I won't know anything about the defense until.
Yeah, they're not really going to crank it up until week 1.
Yeah, they're not going to go as crazy as they will. They don't want to show anything yet. I don't think. Yeah, because the Bears.
Were you happy with how they played? Were you happy with how the defense did?
I think we have some depth. Yeah, I like that. I think we have a few guys like just like at the line. Like I see a lot of guys at the line that I've never even heard of. And I'm just like, oh hey, turning some heads. You look pretty fast. Like, so that's kind of fun. Another thing I was very happy about was the offensive line play. I thought that was really good, very dynamic, very quick feet. I think that we something we struggled with is we had a lot of slow-footed offensive line, and like now I think we're getting a little bit like Matt Nagy knows how to draft them, knows how to work them. So it's good.
You want guys who can move. You want guys who can
move with Fields, yeah. So it's exciting.
I hear that.
I'm waiting for the next game though. I think it's on today or tomorrow. Yeah. Either way, yeah. So
tomorrow,
I'm excited.
I think.
I'm gonna go. I'll double check, but yeah, either way, I'm excited.
So the progression continues for Justin Fields.
Absolutely.
And now we'll head down I-90 back towards the East Coast, and I see we have our special guest in the house, Lawrence. I promise we will get to you. I have a couple of questions that I would like to ask you and just get your opinions on, and we can have you answer those. But so heading back into this time, the Patriots playing away in Philadelphia in the Link in a hostile environment. They go up there and they just absolutely just put a beat down on the Eagles. It was. I mean, I was expecting it to be a good game, but man, that was the defense showed all facets of the game for the Pats just were really good. The defensive line was good. The D line was putting pressure on the Eagles all night. It was all night. I think they only blitzed like 4 or 5 times the whole game. But the D line was getting it done. I mean, Chase Winovich had himself a hell of a game. The D line in general, the interior defensive line did really well. I thought Barmore did pretty well. And then the biggest surprise of the night for me was how the jump for Cam Newton from game 1 to game 2. He looked a lot better. The footwork wasn't perfect. And I don't think it's as good. I think it definitely was better. It's not perfect. The footwork for Cam was better. Just that leap. That was the best I've seen Cam Newton look in a pocket since he got here. Right. But they demolished him. And then Newton was 8 for 9 with 103 yards. only was one pass the whole night, and then Mac Jones, who absolutely had two really good throws. The one to Gunner at the 4-yard line, and then the dime that he dropped to N'Keal Harry along the sidelines for like 35 yards. The progression of both quarterbacks has just been something to see. Mac Jones, that's, like I said, that's the most comfortable I've seen Mac Jones in a pocket. I mean, that's the most comfortable I've seen Cam Newton in a pocket since he got here. Now, and then just overall, it was the Eagles just seemed like they couldn't do much at all. But let's bring in our special guest for the evening, and for the morning. What am I
was gonna say, that was a Belichick beatdown.
Yeah,
Belichick was pissed about 2017.
So somebody who's been following this and who's helped out a few of our friends on their podcasts about what he thinks about some of these rookie quarterbacks. Colts Law on Twitter, guys. Lawrence Owen, we know him by. What's up, bud?
What's going on, man? Appreciate you having me on.
No problem.
Good.
So I have I want to get your thoughts on the Newton-Jones situation, also Justin Fields, and I also want to ask you about your rookie quarterback who hasn't looked too bad either. Sam Ellinger, he might be serviceable. I just want to get your thoughts on kind of all those, the Newton situation. We'll start with that. What do you think of the Newton-Jones situation?
The Newton-Jones situation is kind of unique. I think that Cam Newton really had issues last year, and jumping in with a new coordinator, new quarterbacks coach, new system, new everything, in a system that's not used to using skills that Cam Newton brings, or what he might not be good with, right? That they use a lot. So there was a lot of stuff to work out, a lot of tweaks to make in order for Cam Newton to, in my opinion, be as efficient as he can with the Patriots. And then they go out and they get so lucky in the draft. I mean, lucky as heck when Mac drops to them and they're like, this is the perfect situation, at least in my opinion. I can't believe that Belichick wasn't sitting there going, are you kidding me?
They had to get nothing up to get him. They had to give nothing up to get him. He just fell to him.
Exactly. And now there was a lot of questions about Mac too, coming, out of college. There was a lot of things, but he seemed to be more of that pocket passer that the Patriots have utilized over, the decades and decades that they've been around. So, I watched film from Cam. I've watched film from Mac, and I'm like, I like what Mac brings to the table. But at the same time, he's still young, and he's still got to get into the whole NFL, up to speed. All that. I like the fact that they're still kind of heavy on Cam right now. Because, in my opinion, if the season starts out, good, then Belichick is smart, right? But if it starts off bad, well, you still gave Mac Jones a little bit of time. Right. And then you can bring him in later if you need to. But I don't know. Cam in his past has shown that he could be a baller. So take that chance, because last year, yes, there was a lot of excuses, but a lot of those excuses were legitimate excuses, true reasons of why he was not succeeding as well as what he was hoping for. But I don't think there's really I think the quarterback controversy in New England is more a fan-based situation than an internal situation. You know what I mean? So I really do believe that the Patriots organization itself really want Cam to succeed this year.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's more of a hoping Cam succeeds or gets him to where they need to go, and then Matt can be that guy for the future.
Yeah. Now, I said it last. I said it last the last podcast we had the last week. and it's probably one of the best things I've heard out of the Boston media in like a long time, because I don't usually go with, what they kind of say, but they said it's easier to go from Cam Newton to Mac Jones than it would be to go from Mac to Cam, because if you start the kid and and he's not doing well, because the Patriots do not have an easy schedule this year. It's not that heart of the schedule, that week 6 to week 5 to week 12 is not, it's not easy. And if he loses 4 games in a row and looks bad, and they go back to, and it forces them to go back to Newton, and then that flip-flop's never good. You have to time that transition perfect.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, if you start Mac and he doesn't do well, and you have to bring Cam in, what does that do to his personal self? Up here in the clock. You know what I'm saying?
Confidence. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And if you bring him in because Cam's not doing well, then there's no expectation for Mac, right? There's no expectation. It's like, you know what? All you got to do is go out there and play and get experience. Because we're already sitting in a bad situation because we've lost some. Obviously, they would have had to have lost some in order to bring him in. But on the flip side, like you said, they bring him in and they start out losing. What if they start out losing, bring Cam in, and then they start winning, and then Mac's in a bad situation upstairs, right? Up in here, wondering what in the world am I good enough? And that's something you don't want to have in any rookie player, especially a quarterback.
There's two words I would use to describe Mac Jones: is swagger and poise, and you don't want to mess with those things right early on. Exactly. I agree with you. You got to use Mac or you got to use Cam early on. Save Mac.
So now, Lawrence, have you got to see any of Justin Fields or no?
I've seen a few things. I've seen I've seen what he said, and then I've seen a few plays, and I've seen obviously what the starting quarterback said about him. I didn't get to see the entire game because I'll be honest, I've just been incredibly busy and hadn't had a chance to watch it. So but I've seen some highlights. But
do you think the building blocks and potential are there for him to do well?
Well, yeah. I think I honestly believe that he's in a better situation to succeed in Chicago than, let's face it, a pocket quarterback, because Chicago's offensive line at times are not very good at pass protection. There's a reason why Mitch Trubisky was having issues, and it wasn't all on Mitch Trubisky. Okay, there was a lot of times. Yeah,
I think we're better than we have been, and that is what I was looking at the other day. I was like, that's the only thing I'm like worried about. Like I was saying, the defense in the Bears, not really worried. We'll see where they're at in like week 4 or 5 if they're good or bad. But the offensive line, that's what I'm worried about, because you got to be like, that's a unit you got to get going early on in preseason. So you're right, like they have been. And Trubisky, the thing about Trubisky, the reason why Trubisky wasn't our quarterback, why he wasn't right for us, wasn't all his fault. He's like a B- quarterback. But the thing with Matt Nagy is Matt Nagy wants someone with skyrocketing potential. Like, he coached Patrick Mahomes, and he loved coaching Patrick Mahomes. So he doesn't want someone with limited potential with a ceiling that you can, hit your head on. So, but I agree. You're right that it's not all on Mitch. It's not the reason why we didn't win half the time. It was Cody Parkey's fault. That's what it really was. That's who it really. I'm just kidding.
I think for the rookie quarterback to succeed in Chicago, they really have to establish a solid ground and pound game in order for him to succeed. They can get that going, which falls right into what you were saying, JD. They need to have their offensive line step up early. Absolutely early, in order for him to work out with Chicago. Now, I don't know. I haven't been watching closely the reports out there. Have they named a starter yet out there?
Oh, for Chicago?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's Andy Dalton.
It is Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
they have definitively said Dalton will start.
And Nagy has openly talked about the Patrick Mahomes comparison. He said, I want to use Andy Dalton like we used Alex Smith and kind of ease him into it. And honestly, Andy might be there all year. Some of these Bears fans might be raging by the end of it, and I'm prepared for it. I'm like, well, yeah, we'll give him as much time as he needs, the kid. Like let him get the whole playbook in there. Don't just like show flashes of greatness. No, I want to see everything. And if he's good by week 8, then put him in at week 8. But if he's not, then just wait a year, and it's no big deal. Then the next year he comes in and he's Patrick Mahomes, and I'll take it, man. I'll take it. 50 touchdowns, No,
That's another huge part of it too. You never really want to throw a rookie out there without knowing like most, if not all, or is confident with most of the playbook. He might not know all of it, but he's confident with. It's such a huge part of it where you don't want to leave a guy hanging out to dry because it can ruin him. It can and will ruin him.
A problem with the Red Rifle that Bears fans see is the last few years he has not had an offensive line at all. None. Zero. I mean, last year in Dallas, 80% of that offensive line was hurt.
Yeah,
and it was like
all year.
Yeah,
everyone wants to run
upon
Dallas,
backups.
Everyone was injured,
and then we all seen what he left, in his wake over in Cincinnati as Joe Burrow, had surgery on his knee. So, that's the kind of offensive line that the Red Rifle had over there. So even though I said, Chicago's offensive line is questionable at times, it's better than the both situations that he had in both those previous teams. And he's got weapons. Allen is a stud. Okay. Yeah. He is so much better than what he had in his last year over there, in Cincinnati, because
was Zeke hurt. Oh, sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, you're good. Now, yes, Dallas has good weapons, right? But Zeke's not necessarily. I think Zeke is a little bit starting to go. Ever since he's gotten his money, ever since he got this, it just right. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. It's like he happens a lot. It's all about him, and not the team, and that worries me a little bit about picking him for anything like fantasy, But
he had a down year last year too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a really bad down year. Now he had some weapons, obviously, like Cooper and all them, CD, but if you ain't got time to throw in the pocket and you're a pocket quarterback, that's not a good situation to be in, right? So
statue.
like I said, in Chicago, that offensive line for either quarterback is going to be important, whether or not you're going to put your rookie in, and he's going to have to, you're going to have to worry about that ground and pound to let his legs do a lot of the work as well when you're doing RPOs and such.
Any good running game helps out quarterbacks. Any good running game.
Exactly. And then on top of that, you need that pass protection for a pocket quarterback, like Dalton, because Dalton let's not pretend. Yeah, Dalton 3 years ago was a pretty darn good quarterback. He just, that offensive line went to crap in Cincinnati, and he looked horrible. Then it went to goes to Chicago, to Dallas. And I expected him to play well, but then that offensive line went to crap, and started getting hurt all the time. He had no time to throw the football. So I'm hoping that Chicago has got a lot of things worked out. I know they've been working. It's not their fault. It's not like Chicago hasn't been trying to fix their offensive line. I've noticed the moves. I've noticed the draft picks. It's just some of them just hasn't been working out to what they were hoping for.
Well, Kyle Long, I mean, God.
Yeah. No,
that's ridiculous.
The last 3 seasons, they've realistically been trying to do something about that O-line to help, and it's just, what was that? Their second and third round, I think they picked O-line, and both of them fell flat on their face. I think either last year or 2 years ago.
Cody Whitehair is the only one who's been solid out of that because we drafted a lot from like 2017, 2018, 2019. He was the only one who was solid, and he's like the shortest one, the smallest one. It's the funny thing. It's like he was the littlest guy, and he's the only one who like worked out. Maybe not the only one. I think there was one more. I'm forgetting though. I'll have to look at it again.
Well, when you get an offensive lineman who's a little smaller or has shorter arms, right? Yeah. They seem to work harder. You know, they know. You know, that there's a lot of people out there that are down on them because, you know, just their physical ability. Yeah, exactly. And they seem to work really, really hard. You see that every day.
Now, Lawrence, we wanted to, JD brought this to me yesterday? I think it was.
So I was watching, I think I was know where you're going to go. So I was watching the Colts, and I noticed that I thought the eye test, I didn't actually know what the stats were. So I didn't even look at that. The eye test told me that Sam Ehlinger looked a little bit better than Jacob Eason. What did it tell you?
What I wanted to get.
You're a fan, so I want to know.
Okay. In all honesty, the first drive for Jacob Eason was not good because the offensive line was not. I mean, that offense.
Yeah, that's yeah.
No, the Colts did not start
first drive. They got torched.
They got torched bad. Okay, and Eason is not necessarily a mobile quarterback. I mean, he can move, but he's not known for that. He prefers to stand tall in the pocket and throw it, you know, downfield. And he got sacked 3 times, like really quick, bam, 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 you know. And
two of those they could have taken a snap from him,
right? The last one, you know, he got stripped. You know, lost the fumble, and that made him look bad. But after that first drive, he really stepped it up and started playing, and you could see the arm talent that Eason has. It is he has got one of the best natural arms in that I've seen. You know, the question is, can he throw on the run? Can he feel pressure around him and move around in the pocket to avoid it? That's a problem that you know, a lot of us Colts fans are a little worried about Jacob Eason. But again, we also forget Eason only played 2 years of college, and both of them were at 2 different teams, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, he played 1 year at Georgia, and then he got benched for another quarterback. And then he left Georgia and went to Washington. So he only played 2 years of college. And then last year, he didn't get any snaps in any practice because he had Phillip Rivers and Jacoby Brissett in front of him.
Yeah.
You know, so he had nothing.
Bottom of the depth.
His only real snaps that he's ever had in the NFL and even practice has been at the beginning of this training camp. So he's literally been basically a junior college player in experience wise taking NFL snaps. So, you know, he's slowly progressing and getting better and better. Now, you wanted to know about Ehlinger, you know, Sam Ehlinger, the Longhorn.
I like how he rolls out and how he uses his feet to extend the throw, like versus running around like and getting hit. He kind of he reminds me of Drew Brees in that way, but I won't say he's anything like Drew Brees. I'm just saying he just kind of rolls like
the style, the style of play.
The style of play is very similar to a Drew Brees. Yes, I will agree. And his arm strength is about that same length. I mean, I think Brees has a stronger arm.
Cannon for an arm.
Ehlinger's arm strength isn't that good. If you watch, he cannot throw a rope. He throws arcs. Go watch him. All of his throws are
arcs. You said, yeah.
Yes, all of them. And
so you're saying if he needed to make a bullet throw over the middle, it would be tough for him.
It's very, very tough for him. Yes, that's the biggest, 2 big downfalls on Ehlinger. I love his mobility. I love his pocket presence. I like that he seems to be able to break down a defense real well, right? I like those things, and those things alone can get him a long career in the NFL. Even if it's just a backup, it's still going to be a long career in the NFL. The 2 things that I worry about is his arm strength, which I've already discussed, and his height, because he's 6'1", and you know, we talk about how he moves around in the pocket. A lot of times he's moving around the pocket when there's no pressure, And I think it's because he's only 6'1", and he's standing behind. He can't see around these 6'6" guys' shoulders, right? So he's got to move around to see the whole field. And that has shown up in practice at times as well. So now I'm not saying that that's a detriment to him. There have been plenty of great Hall of Fame, quarterbacks that have been, 6'1" or 6 foot, or even today. I mean, you got guys like Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson and guys like that. But I mean, they have cannons to help them as well.
They have the arm strength behind them too.
So I do like Sam Ehlinger, and he will start today against the Minnesota Vikings.
Will he? I didn't know that.
That's not an indictment. Yeah, that's not an indictment on Eason. This was planned out from the get-go. Frank Reich said that because Wentz was out and he wanted a good competition, he was going to start Eason week 1 and then Ehlinger week 2. And give them both about a half of play.
I'm watching it now, and in Ehlinger, one thing that now that you mention it, he does have this one kind of weakness where he has this wind up, where it's like you want him to more be like, Aaron Rodgers is more like he's
his is like more of a shot put almost.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, if you throw the ball deep, it's almost like a two-step, like a step up. He's almost got to get like a wind up and throw it.
Yeah, you're gonna worry about getting the ball smacked down by tall, big 7 foot or 6'8" defenders or whatever.
Yeah. You like that throw to Tariq Black or
the one that go down the sideline, right?
Yeah, you'll notice he put everything he had into those balls, into those throws. He put everything he had, but you just see by the way it was like, like that, and
it's an effort to throw him.
Yeah, exactly. It was an effort to throw it 40, 45 yards.
That is something that's a problem. About.
Yeah.
That's definitely a problem, because a lot of those, I mean, like the cover 2 defense, where's the hole in the cover 2 defense? Behind the linebackers, right? Can Ehlinger get those footballs over those linebackers and into that weak spot in that cover 2, which a lot of NFL teams run a base cover 2, and it's does he have the arm strength to get it into that, to squeeze it into that tight window?
You don't see a lot of Ehlinger between the hash marks throws. No. You don't. You'll see them out on the sideline. You'll see them in the flat. He does a lot of checkdowns. I mean, he gets through his progressions, but in practice, I'd say at least half of his throws are to his checkdowns or running backs and tight ends.
Another thing to consider with that too is what is he going to be afraid to make some of those throws? Like, is he going to shy away from making some of those throws and check it? He could have an open guy in a cover 2 and know that he's open and still check it down to the running back out of fear of not being able to make that throw.
I don't know, because Phillip Rivers never had an arm strength either, and he was never afraid to throw it down the middle because he had accuracy. Exactly. But it's about being able to lead your receiver and anticipation, knowing that guy's going to be at that spot in that hole in that cover 2 before he ever gets there, and then deliver the ball, right? That is something that Ehlinger's going to need to show that he has that anticipation. If he can show he has anticipation to go with the accuracy and understanding breaking down a defense before the ball's hiked, then, like I said, he could have a really good career in the NFL.
Yeah. No, there's no if he continues the progression and and just is able to, he doesn't like, all you have to do is just be like, all he needs to do is just be able to play at game speed. As long he doesn't need to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That is there, as long as he can adjust to the game speed, he'll be okay.
What's funny is, before preseason started and Wentz got hurt, the big narrative in national media, local media, everywhere was the Colts needed to go out and get a veteran quarterback like Nick Foles or Trubisky, or
I did hear that.
Yeah, or
you can give us a draft pick if you
Gardner Minshew. You heard all this, and then all of a sudden, once you started hearing these things, Eason and Ellinger started balling out.
Yeah.
Not just in practice, but, during games, like I said, the starting off, Eason, had those 3 sacks. 2 of those 3 sacks weren't his fault. One of them was he held the ball a little over 3 seconds, and got hit. But one of them was a rollout. And as soon as he got his head turned around, it was the perfect defensive call at the time. And it was an edge blitz, safety blitz, hit him right in the face as he turned his head around. Nothing he could do about that. But
that's like that blindside. That's that blindside hit that Newton took last week. Like if they can't see it coming, they can't adjust for it. They can't brace for impact. That hit last week, Lawrence. I swear, I was like, I'm when QBs get hit like that. When QBs get hit like that, it's like I thought we were going to lose him for a month because he got killed. Like they got crushed.
Well, when it comes to Cam Newton, he's not a little dude.
Yeah, no, he's a big guy.
He's not only taken a few hits, he's delivered some hits in his career. You know what I mean? It worries. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't either. I wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley. Well, maybe because really, he seems like a nice guy in real life. You know what I mean?
He is a good dude. I'm sure he's a good guy. Nice guy. He seems like it.
Yeah, on like his YouTube channel, he seems like he genuinely loves football, like to his like soul, his gut, and it just crushes him that he like can't do certain things in the pocket that he wants to do. And hopefully, maybe this year he can. Hey, I'm not.
That, like I said, that's the most comfortable I've seen Newton look in a pocket since he got here. Last game was the most comfortable I've seen him look inside a pocket throwing a football.
Now I know that there's a bunch. Now, since we're on the back to the New England topic, I know there are a bunch of Mac stands out there, and they're out there saying that Cam is
the Mac stands.
It's what they are, right?
I like it.
And they're out there, basically wishing Cam to do horrible so that Mac can go in. And how can you do that? How can you wish bad for your team?
I don't know. I'm not a Mac stan, but I based a lot of my stuff just on what I saw. Like I based a lot of how I feel towards Newton on what I saw, and don't get me wrong, I'm what I saw last year, but I'm not afraid to give Cam credit where credit's due. That last game that he had, that was the best game he's had since he got here. Since he got here, that was the best he's looked in a long since they signed him. I tend to stick to just what the eyeball test, the facts, and just like until that game, he didn't look good. He looked uncomfortable throwing the football. When the Patriots asked him to consecutively throw a football for like let's say he had to throw 6 or 7 times in a row, he does it. He looked tense. He looked tight. The reads just. It just seems like a labor for him to do that. Now, we talked about this on the last podcast. There are some things that you can blame him for and some things that you just can't, because he's been a 2-read and go guy his whole career. He's been a 2-read and go because that's what those athletic quarterbacks rely on, is that ungodly athletic ability where if they drop back 1001, 1002, and then maybe a half second and they go, they're just going to take their legs and use what the athletic ability they have. Now, those guys are usually 55 to 58% guys. You know what I mean? As you get older, though, that speed goes away. Mm-hmm. So what are you left with? A 55% accuracy thrower that makes 2 reads in a pocket and then kind of just loses composure. And they're trying to teach Cam that they're trying to teach him how to go from that second to third to, that's the toughest part, is trying to get that guy to stay still and stay in the pocket and make that third and fourth read.
And it's not impossible because Mike Vick did it, right?
No, it's not.
And I'm about to show my age, but Randall Cunningham, when he started getting older, in his career and moved to Minnesota, he did it there.
He had to do the same thing. He couldn't run anymore. He had to throw.
Exactly.
He was always a pretty darn good thrower, but I know what you mean. Mike Vick's a really good example. One thing that you said earlier, or no, we both said actually, we both agreed, Bobby, before I think we were talking about it earlier about Mac Jones, is that there are certain throws that he made last night. I think it was 2 nights ago. That we both don't think that Cam could make on a regular basis, and that Mac's still learning, and that's something that we liked about Mac. But I think that Cam is I would stick with him for a while.
There was a few throws in that first preseason game that I was watching from Mac that the receivers bailed him out. They were bad.
There were a few that were way behind him, and
were way low and behind, and they
get it. Yep.
Yeah. So it's not like Mac is some kind of perfect pocket thrower yet.
Oh no. There's still improvements there to be made for sure.
But I do think that there's he's got it's not college no more. This is a professional level with professional level coaching and everything. I think he'll be fine. I just think he needs a little bit of time. I'm just more worried about yes, I get that you want Mac long term. You want to see Mac. And I'm not necessarily saying you there, buddy. I'm saying in general, a lot of people like
Patriots
that.
Fans.
Patriots fans.
That's the long-term plan. That is the end game is to transition from Cam to Mac and just do it as smoothly as possible.
And I would not want to wish ill on a player on my team to do bad. I would want them to succeed no matter what. Even if I want this specific guy to succeed, I would want someone else to succeed as well, especially if they are the named starter. You know what I mean?
Hey, a Super Bowl is a Super Bowl. I don't give a crap who we win it with.
I trust Cam at game speed.
Hey, hardware is hardware, man. Who cares who brings it? Who brings it to you? Just take it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. And anything. I mean, if Cam comes out and just balls out, then and if people still are rooting against him, then that's just you're not really a Pats fan at that point. But I think that I trust Cam at regular season and playoff game speed right now more than Mac. That's indisputable. But maybe Belichick sees something different.
But that's just a guy who's been that comes from a guy who's been in the league for 10 years. Yeah. It's the experience. Cam's been there and done that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. He's seen everything. So, and I think that I think you're right. Also, like I said, I noticed that Cam still moves north and south very, very well.
Yeah,
but his lateral movement has diminished greatly, right? Yeah. So but
that's agility. You know what I mean? That's agility and quickness, and that's just age. I think that's just the age, and it's we talked about the progression of the career. It's just he's just getting older, and the agility. Guys have to adapt. If look at Brady, Rodgers, Manning, Breeze, both Mannings. They were never the most athletic guys, right? They could move in the pocket a little bit when they were younger, but as you get older as a quarterback, to me, the mind and the football IQ become the best weapon in the arsenal. They can walk up to a defense and they can read it. They can look up and read, and they can identify. There was 2 plays where really impressed me with Newton, where he walked to the line of scrimmage, identified the blitzing linebacker, changed the play, and put J.J. Taylor in a spot to pick him up and handle it. And that last year, Cam would have never been able to do that. Never. This year, it was done. He did it twice perfectly. So, I mean, that's a progression there too. So it's not like you said, it's not like it can't be done. It just needs to be drilled into him and how to do it.
I think he was able to do it before he came to New England. It's just the playbook and everything is a little bit different. He didn't understand, what the audibles were and stuff like. He even said, if I remember in a presser where he said, there were times when I walked out there and had no idea what the play was, and that I had to pretty much just kind of wing it, and that
he said that comes like week 8. Remember his comments? I still don't know the playbook, or week 8 or week 9 or something. He still didn't know the playbook
because the playbook was so different than what he was used to sitting over there in Carolina, because a lot of his playbooks was all about the RPOs. And how many RPOs did Tom Brady run? Exactly, right? So it's all sitting in the pocket doing your reads. You do a lot of play action, things of that nature. There's not a whole bunch of naked rollouts, for Tom Brady. But now he's had his off season to sit there with that playbook and know and read, and because he didn't have that last year. There was no off season last year, and that's a big excuse. That is a reason more than an excuse.
Right.
No, but you're like,
hopefully he's got it this year more.
It just shocked me because I watched that preseason game 1 with Cam, and I was just like, here we go again, man. Here we go again. The same crap. This is what it's going to be. And then you saw, now it was improvements. Like, even though it was against what I think is going to be a really bad Eagles team, like really bad. I think that Eagles team is in trouble. I think they're going to win 5 or 6 or maybe 7 games at the most. But still, it's like,
wait, are you saying it wasn't all Carson Wentz's fault?
No way.
I just think that Eagle team is going to be bad. I think they're going to be bad. There's even the starters. The Pats defensive line absolutely ate that starting offensive line alive. Ate them alive. I think I think that team's in trouble. I think that team's in big trouble. Yeah, and I think Carson Wentz was a big reason why they were as good as they were. And then you take him out of there, and it's like, oh, we're gonna try and do Nick Foles again, or whoever it is. I think they're in trouble. I think they're in big trouble.
Yeah, it's a little worrisome because their head coach is in a bad spot. They just hired him. He was the Colts offensive coordinator, right? Yeah. They hired him straight out, and he's a great coach, and he's a guy who will make a player, if you do something not right, you're going to own up to it, right? Oh, yeah. And
accountability.
And the Eagles never had that before, with Peterson and all them. They didn't have accountability. If you did well, you got great stuff. If someone did bad, blame was thrown all over the place, right? And I was noticing that a lot, and it was with fans.
Peterson never took responsibility for anything either. Yeah, it was never his fault. It was always somebody else's. Yeah,
Sixers have accountability problems too. It seems to be a theme in Philadelphia.
And now, and then they let go of Wentz and trade Wentz off, and they're like, "Oh, Hurts is our guy. Hurts is our guy." And now you hear, well, we're not going to name Hurts right away, and then you hear all these rumors about the Eagles are all in on a trade for Watson. And I don't know if you've heard those, but
I've heard them. They're from what I've been hearing, they're just waiting to see this outcome of what the Watson thing, what happens with that, and then they're going to be. The Eagles are one of the 3 teams that are going to be all in on him.
And honestly, if Watson walks out of this and is able to play, I would be too, because NFL wise, skill wise, Watson is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL.
If he walks out of this with his name clear, it's going to be a bidding war for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like the Bears, I remember a lot of people wanted us to like trade all our picks and everything for him, but like looking back, it's like, hey, we might have the next Deshaun Watson, so we're pretty happy about it.
Can I ask a couple questions to you guys? Because I just want your opinions. I didn't watch the last preseason game with that you guys have talked a lot about.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys that I've done film rooms on that I really, really like that the Patriots picked up. Now, there's no question in my mind. I said Jonnu Smith was the best free agency pickup, in my opinion. When it happened,
that catch from him in that preseason, the first preseason game was awesome.
Yeah, but the rookies, I got some rookies that I have a question about. I really liked Ramondre Stevenson. I thought that the look from him, I saw a young Frank Gore.
LeGarrette Blount or Frank Gore 2.0.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Have you seen anything from him this preseason? Has he been playing?
He's scored 4 touchdowns in 2 games.
So, wow, you know.
Yeah. And he had the first preseason game they pitched it to him, and it was supposed to be a routine end around, and he ran 88 yards for a touchdown.
Is Harris's job in trouble?
No, I think they're going to platoon them 2 back and forth. Because I think Harris has more stamina than Stevenson, just because Stevenson's 240.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
He's 240, 238 pounds.
Then what's going to happen? Then what's going to happen with Sony?
Right now we have 5 running backs in the running back room.
And they're all going to play because it's the
5.
Patriots.
And it wouldn't surprise me if they rolled with 5. It really wouldn't. It wouldn't surprise me if some like bubble receiver got cut over guys like, well, Brandon Bolden is a special teams like guru. You know, like he's a Pro Bowler on special teams. Like and that's a lot of that stuff Bill puts a huge value to. So JJ Taylor had the most yards. He had 93 yards. Yes, in against the Eagles, the most out of anybody in that running back room. It wouldn't surprise me if they rolled with 5, or I think the odd man out is going to be Sony Michel, simply because JJ Taylor's got the youth and he's healthy. Sony he had knee issues last year. He's just the reliability factor could put him on the outside looking in. And JJ Taylor can also catch punts. That way they don't have to sacrifice a receiver or somebody from another position and put them in harm's way catching punts. Taylor can do that. Stevenson also plays on the kickoff. He also these guys with versatility, I think, are going to win out. The young guys with versatility, I think, could beat out some of these guys that are second and third year guys that are on the bubble. Like I want JJ Taylor on the team. I think the kid's explosive. I think he can give James White a breather when he needs to. I think they can platoon him and James White in on passing downs. And I call him Mighty Mouse. I love him. I want him on the team bad. I
love when people call running backs Mighty Mouse.
What's up?
I said I love when people call running backs Mighty Mouse. It's hilarious because they're small.
Well, the other rookie that I had a question about, and I did a film room on just about every rookie for the Patriots because
what did you think about the defensive ones?
Coming into the draft, I thought Christian Barmore was a huge ad. I didn't know how he's going to play.
Feeling for him, Lawrence, I think is like a Will Fork 2.0 if he continues.
I think he's got more mobility than Will Fork.
I just think he can play that role. That guy that's going to suck up blockers. That's going to always demand a double team because the kid's a force. Force.
I think he has more potential. So Will Fork is a block eater. That's what he was. And he was like one of the best in the NFL, period, at it ever. Right. I think Barmore can do that, but I also think that he has the ability to get penetration and create problems in the backfield as well. At least that's what I was seeing on film.
Oh yeah.
It happened with Will Fork occasionally, but I think Barmore has more potential at that aspect than what Will Fork had. Whereas, Will Fork was more of you can put your whole offensive line on me, I'm going to hold my ground, So
that's what he did because he freed up the linebackers to do what they did because he demanded 2 and 3 guys. Like you needed to block him with 2 or 3 guys because he wasn't moving.
See, I thought Barmore was more of a 4-3
like a Richard Seymour type guy.
More of exactly. More of a 4-3-1 tech than a zero nose is what I was looking at Barmore, but
similar to like a Freeney. Dwight Freeney.
Dwight Freeney was a D end. Dwight Freeney was a 7 and a 9 tech. So no, more of a guy who sets off the edge of the center rather than directly over the center.
All right. So just not like your atypical nose tackle that just sits there and doesn't move.
Mm-hmm. But Barmore, I like Barmore. I think you could actually, if given the right situation, could probably be used in stunts because I really do like his lateral mobility, and that's rare for a tackle in the NFL.
So how about Perkins and Uche is not exactly like he was last year, but
yeah,
the last 2 years I think the defensive ones have been good. What do you think, Lawrence? What
I think? Okay, so I like where they went defensively. They went heavy defense, outside of Ramondre and Mac. And I like the fact that they did that because their front seven needed help a lot. They needed a lot of help in the front seven because they were getting eaten alive up front, especially last year.
Oh, they were getting run all over last year.
Exactly. And I like where the picks were. I like, for the most part, I thought Stevenson and Barmore and Mac were, like, to me, when the pick came up, that's who I had them selecting, right?
Yeah.
So I had 3 selections, bam, 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 and the other guys not so much, but they fit, and I like where they fit. I'm glad that they didn't go heavy in wide receiver because you had a lot of Patriots fans going, we still don't have a number 1, and I'm like, I think you do. I think he just has to grow into it.
Yeah,
and it's not Nelson, I promise you. But I think the Patriots are going to be a well-rounded team. It's just you got to make sure that the quarterback situation is right.
Yeah,
that's a big deal, and I think that. Well, right now, I mean, your tight end situation is. Are you going to get some of these guys back soon?
According to reports, they should all be good to go by week 1. They should all be good to go.
Okay.
It's minor stuff, minor little stuff that they're
kind of like with the Colts injuries. All of them are week 1,
just minor,
week 2,
and
something like that.
They're not willing to push it in the preseason. That's what it is. It's like let's just let them heal, and we'll go in week 1 and like they're not going to push it. They're not going to push their luck. It's the preseason. They don't absolutely need him to play. They'll be Smith and Hunter Henry will be all right for week 1. They'll be good to go.
Yeah, I don't know about when they grabbed Hunter Henry and paid him the amount of money. I get that there was a love affair there, but I thought Jonnu Smith was the man. I thought Jonnu Smith right there. That was a perfect grab. But no, I see where he says in the chat, I'm lying to your face. Yeah, I'm not. I think Jacoby Myers is the number 1.
No, I think he is. I think he will.
I really do.
He will be.
I did a film room on Jacoby Myers.
Try and get him to fill that Julian Edelman role this year. They're going to try and get him to fill Edelman's role.
Myers didn't get any targets last year because early in the season. Because Cam Newton didn't even know who he was. He had Edelman to throw to, and he's throwing to Edelman the entire front of the season. Edelman goes down with injury. All of a sudden, he's looking around the field looking for the guy who's open. Myers was always getting open, always making plays in the second half of the season. And, if you don't believe me, go check out my film room. I mean, it is what it is. And I think that I think I said it before the preseason started. I said it right at the end of last year. I think Myers is going to take that number 1 receiving spot for the Patriots this year.
No doubt. I think Myers will be 1. I think Aguilar will be 2. Myers will be 1. Aguilar will be 2. Bourne in I'm losing the name, but they'll fight for a third spot. But I think Cam's go-to targets are going to be Henry and Jonnu. I think we're going to see something really similar to what Baltimore does with the 2 tight end set, heavy run,
Well, he likes Greg Olsen, so if you can get
that's what I think.
Yeah,
I think Cam's favorite targets this year are going to be the 2 tight ends. I think Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry are set to have big years.
As long as he can get that, as you talking, JD, his footwork. He had issues with quick passes right off the snap. Yes.
Yeah.
And
he's
had like so many foot problems. He's had like a plantar problem, an ankle problem. He has all these problems. So, and his feet, and that's like for a quarterback, it's a nightmare.
Let me run a scenario. What if they platoon both? What if both guys are good enough to play?
And then they're not going to win that many games.
What if they platoon them both back in? What if we see both quarterbacks?
Like Mac and Cam.
Cam Newton plays first, second down. And,
I don't know.
And
it's coming then.
Would it work?
There's a saying in the NFL.
I know what he's going to say.
If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, that's what they used to say about the Saints last year.
Yeah, that's true. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterbacks. That's a fact. It's so true. What else is on let's see the agenda.
I appreciate you stopping in though, Lawrence. Appreciate it.
Not a problem, man. I'm just glad I woke up in time. I'm a guy who's up really late, and I generally don't get up too early. Most of my shows I record, anywhere between 2 p.m. Eastern and later. And when you hit me up, it's like, I'm gonna start this up around 10 a.m. and I'm like, yeah. The only time I ever get up before 10 generally is when I'm heading out to training camp, because that's reporting,
That's awesome.
See, 9 or 10 a.m. is sleeping in for me because I get up at 4 a.m. So it's like that's 6 extra hours of sleep for me. My body's like, yeah.
I've worked before I started doing this full time. I was a third shifter for 15 years. So
there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, daytime sleeping is like nice. So anyway, but yeah, it's great to have such a thorough perspective. We were talking about the Colts. And then I'm glad he brought you in. And I love it if you came because you're on the I-90. That's right along the road, man.
The corridor too.
Yeah. So you're right on here. This is the I-90 podcast.
I cover the Colts, but man, I cover the entire NFL. I'm a football fan, guy.
Yeah.
I watch and keep track of everybody. So yeah, definitely.
So how can they? So you're at Colts Law on Twitter, right?
Colts _law. Yeah.
Colts _law. And then on YouTube, it's Colts Law, right?
It's I have it up.
Lawrence Owen. You can type in Colts Law and find it, but it's
Lawrence Owen. All right, so
yes.
Yeah,
Lawrence Owen
on
YouTube. But thanks for the time, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate you sitting in with us.
Hey, not a problem.
Subscribe to Lawrence Owen. Get those notifications.
I love having you guys having me on. Feel free to hit me up anytime you want me to come on and give some opinions or whatnot.
Absolutely, man. We look forward to it. Awesome. But it's definitely going to be interesting watching the progression of some of these guys and seeing if they can, because JD, you said it before. Quarterbacks, it's tough for them to not all the time do they pan out.
That was my argument. People were saying that Fields wasn't going to work out because Ohio State quarterbacks don't always work out. It's like, dude, quarterbacks don't work out in general. Like across the board, it doesn't matter where you went to school. Everyone's like, quarterbacks are good. Like
fail before one hits.
Yeah, exactly.
Just remember, Ryan Leaf. They were really thinking about taking Ryan Leaf over Peyton Manning with that first pick. Okay, so
what's his name? Whatever, the guy from the guy after Peyton Manning at Tennessee. Yeah, exactly. T. Martin, dude. He was so good in college. Everyone's like, oh, he's so much better than Peyton Manning. He's so much better. He gets to the NFL, he sucks. It's like,
right?
Dude,
look at how high they picked a guy like Blake Bortles.
Yeah, Blake Bortles is another guy. Tons of talent, but
the guy from the Raiders
figured out
who decided to eat cheeseburgers out of the NFL.
Oh God,
he eat himself right out of the NFL. Yeah,
he was doing more than eating cheeseburgers. He's sipping other stuff too.
Yeah, I know.
Sipping on stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. Some people just don't have the mentality to make it in the NFL. And
Crumb says Trubisky's a bust, but I don't think Trubisky's a bust.
Lawrence,
He's just limited.
think it's a multitude of stuff. Like you need the mentality, right? And a lot of I've played football for a long time. Like I played it for a long, long time. And it's like you could the jump from Pop Warner to high school. Like that's a talent jump. Then you take the best of the best in high school and they go to college. And then that's from college. You don't understand. There's like a lot of people.
Oh, I do know.
You have to put it into perspective, right? There's 320-pound defensive linemen, nose tackles, and D tackles, right? That run 6-second 40s, right? 6-second 40s for a guy that weighs 320. The guys.
The game's faster.
That's what I mean. It's just
so much faster.
That guy chasing you is just as fit. Like if you're one of those athletic quarterbacks, or if you're a quarterback in general, that guy chasing you is just as quick as you, if not faster. So it's like it's such a massive talent jump every time you move up every time you make the stage bigger. It's
absolutely
a massive.
Aaron Donald can
talent jump
receivers in a foot race.
The NFL, people don't realize the NFL is the best of, even on the worst team in the league, the NFL is the best of the best for college players. That's the best of the best.
And it's not just college; it's national. I mean, you got guys coming from, Europe and stuff coming in
international
here,
markets too. It's those guys too. Yeah,
Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember him.
But hopefully
Quiddy Pay.
Yeah,
Quiddy Pays from Africa. So
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They're all over the world now. It's a worldwide sport now. No longer.
And they look they look anywhere for the talent. It's a world, like you said, it's a worldwide thing. Yeah, they're not just focused on the U.S. It's finding guys that can do it all over the world.
Absolutely, man. So, yeah, it's a huge jump. I mean, I don't know what it's like the jump from college to the pros, but I do know that jump from high school to college, and it's massive. And I can only imagine what it's like to go from college to pros. So, guys who make it there, they're studs. Yeah. And go ahead, man.
I remember playing like that jump from Pop Warner to high to, or never mind the jump from high school to college. Like you're like high school guys are like, I don't know, 280, 290, you know what I mean? 280 at probably the most, a big big nose tackle, it's sitting at like 280. And then you get to college and you look across and a dude's looking at you that's like 6'2", 6'3", and he's, 310.
Oh, yeah. The biggest thing with me with college is like, you're like the star of your high school team. You've made all state, right? At your position, in high school. You go to college and you look across from you and you see this guy playing who's, a sophomore or a junior, and you're a freshman walking in, and you're just like, I might not make this team.
Yeah, and you're the best of the best from where you came from. Yeah.
Exactly. And that legitimately happens. I'm telling you, it happens.
It's like I think it's like the top 5% of like high school players get to try for college, and then the top 5% of them get to try for the NFL, and only 1% of them even makes it for an extended period of time.
How many collegiate football players are there? 10,000?
Thousands,
right?
Yeah.
Thousands. Probably 10,000.
Basketball's a lot harder.
If you're counting D2 and
how many do they pick in the draft? How many get chosen to NFL teams? 300. Yeah. You know what I mean? 300 at the most. So 300 out of 10,000.
Well, and then you got, some walk-ons that happen occasionally, and your UDFAs, stuff like that.
Well, that's like maybe 500, maybe 400 or 500 out of 10,000 get picked.
Exactly.
So It's like 1%. 1% of those guys are going to get. chosen into the NFL.
It's not very many people. Yeah, I mean, you got only 52 people can make a roster. There's only 30 teams. That's the best people in the entire world, and that's it. And everybody else, sorry. Good luck working at a car lot.
Yeah,
probably. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, shoot, John Elway's making millions. He's like selling cars, man. You ask him, I don't know how he's made more money selling cars around the football field, honestly. But anyway, yeah, man, you've provided like some amazing insight here, and I can't wait to have you on the I-90 pod. I'm a notify everybody. Subscribe to Lawrence Owen on YouTube. Make sure to do that. That's really important.
Hey, do not chew the microphone cord. No, don't. Bad idea.
That's not a good idea.
What is
Bad
that?
idea.
Diesel's got to make an appearance every I-90 episode.
He
A
does.
cat? Oh, you got a big cat too.
Big boy.
Nice. Hold on.
He doesn't even care. He's just like, all right, I'm accepting this. This is happening. I have cats too, but they won't cooperate with me, I don't think. Oh my god, he's like falling asleep in your hands. That's hilarious. He's just like, life's too tiring, dude.
Well, hey, Lawrence, 21 and a half pounds.
Gee.
He's bigger than mine. My biggest cat is 18.
Cats are small.
Look at this, dude.
This
Look,
one's
not even-
3 pounds.
This one is only 15, but he's big boy too, though. So. That's
He's
a
like,
big
what
cat.
are you doing with me?
And you know what? Guys who are cat lovers get a bad rep.
They're low
That's a
maintenance,
fact.
man.
They are.
They're low maintenance.
They take care of themselves, man.
Yeah, they're just chilling.
Dude, I'm not, but just on a tangent real quick. I'm not home enough for a dog. Seriously.
I'm not either.
I work 10 to 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday. I'm just not home. My apartment, my condo would get trashed. Like,
Well, if you don't have a yard for the dog to just run around in for 7 hours a day, then it's just, I mean, you're kind of just being, I don't know. It's not good for the dog then.
but I appreciate you coming on, man. I really do. Thanks for the time. Thanks for the insight. Much appreciated.
Hey, not a problem. Like I said, man, anytime you want to have me back on, just shout me out. Give me at least a day's notice, and then I'm generally good to go. I'll try to find some way. So
Yeah, I'll definitely give you a heads up for sure.
all
But
right.
thanks again, man. We're gonna transition into some baseball, and your boy's gonna get a little heated because I'm very happy with Red Sox management finally admitting their damn mistakes that they messed up at the deadline. But thanks again, Lawrence.
Yep.
Much appreciated, buddy. Always good to work with you. I will definitely be in touch. We'll have you on. We're definitely gonna have you back, but
All right. Have a good day, man.
you take it easy, brother.
Lawrence.
Later, man.